Thank you so much.
And Senator Bates. I hope this has been an entertaining morning for you, Senator Bates, as you have patiently waited. I know, it is a very hard act. I think Mr. Wilk just left the room because he figured it wasn't going to be interesting.
I'm very impressed, Chairman Vanilla, about how engaged your committee is. So it truly is. I mean,
Well,
this is where the work gets done. So, however we come out, you guys.
oh, you came back. You heard me. Gosh. Is there a microphone on or something? Thank you very much for joining us, Senator Bates. And we have item number 10, SB 479. The recommendation here is that do pass as amended to appropriations, healing arts, behavior analysis licensing, licensing. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair and members. I am certainly pleased to present to you Senate Bill 479. It responds to the July 1st, 2012 state law mandating that private health plans cover behavioral health treatment for autism and the recommendations of the 2013 Autism Advisory Task Force report to the governor and the state legislature. The mandate has substantially increased the demand for applied behavior analysis services. With this, there's a greater need to regulate behavior analysis and protect autistic children and other vulnerable populations from people who claim to have qualifications they do not possess. SB 479 will establish licensing of behavior analysts and grant the Board of Psychology the authority to regulate their practice. I would like to thank the committee staff for their excellent work in analyzing this bill. A lot of complexities, and I'm prepared to accept the amendments that are recommended in the committee analysis. Behavior analysis is a scientifically validated practice addressing the effects of physical and social environment on an individual's behavior. The analysts treat individuals who face challenges with socially significant behaviors, including children with autism and other individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Licensing and state regulation of behavior analysis will help ensure that children with autism and others who can benefit from applied behavior analysis have access to safe and effective treatments from qualified professionals. This is a personal issue for me also. A number of my friends and acquaintances have had children in the very early stages because they were affluent, frankly, and had the opportunity to get specialist treatment for children. In 2 cases, they were able to really change the direction of that child's life so that one graduated with honors from UCLA, and when I saw her as a young child at 2, I had no hope. So it's really important that all socioeconomic levels have an opportunity for this kind of treatment. I'd like to commend the Board of Psychology staff for their excellent work on this bill, and I acknowledge the considerable time and careful deliberation that has been dedicated to the bill by the Board of Psychology's ABA task force and the full board. I've taken numerous amendments to address many of the board's concerns, and I appreciate the board is working with me on the bill. In addition, SB 479 has been amended to resolve many of the concerns that have been expressed by stakeholders, including practitioners of other healing arts. It's sponsored by the California Association of Behavior Analysis and is supported by providers of treatments to children with autism, including Behavior Frontiers, the California Association of Private Special Education Schools, Center for Learning and Autism Support Services, Clinic for Kids, as well as numerous individual teachers and practitioners of applied behavior analysis. It has also received support from family members of autistic children. With me today is Missy Johnson. She represents the sponsor, as well as Matt McLear from the California Association of Behavior Analysis. And they're only here to answer any questions you have about the bill.
Thank you very much. We do have a motion and a second. In support.
Absolutely. Just in support really quickly, as Senator Bates mentioned, we've been working really diligently with the Board of Psychology staff and your committee staff to resolve a lot of the issues that have been raised. We believe the amendments, including the amendments that are referenced in the analysis, address most of those concerns. And we just respectfully ask for your aye vote. And if any committee members have any questions, Matt McClear and I are here to answer them.
Thank you. Others in support?
Good morning, committee members. Antoinette Sorg from the Board of Psychology. The board has a supportive amended position on this bill. We do support the licensing and regulation of the 3 tiers of applied behavior analysis. We just have one concern about the exemption for the people that work in regional centers. We think that this is a major consumer protection issue and feel that anyone of any financial status should be able to have competent services and redress for any grievances if there's a consumer protection issue. So thank you.
Thank you. And do you mind coming and sitting up here? You're the executive of the board. Yeah, just in case there's questions, that would be great. Yes, in support.
Thank you. Melissa Cortez Roth on behalf of the Center for Autism and Related Disorders. We're one of the largest providers of behavioral health treatments in the nation. We provide a lot of services here in California and in our regional centers. In strong support of the bill, and want to thank the author and his staff and the sponsors for working with us to remove our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. In support? Okay, moving towards opposition.
Somewhere in the middle. Daniel Savino with the Association of Regional Center Agencies. Comment and concern. ARCA is composed of California's 21 nonprofit regional centers that coordinate services and supports for over 280,000 people with developmental disabilities. They're also charged with quality assurance and oversight of service providers, including those who provide behavioral health services for many, many thousands of individuals with developmental disabilities. By way of comment, we are very supportive of licensure. And the increased professionalism will certainly lead to better outcomes for those served. We appreciate the author's attention to this, and it's a very worthy goal. We've also had excellent conversations with committee staff, with the sponsors, staff for the Board of Psychology, but there remains a bit of a gap where we have a concern related to access. There are parts of California that are already experiencing significant shortages of providers for these worthwhile services. This situation will only be exacerbated, we believe, by the bill's exemptions and certain of its language. Specifically, we recognize that while there is an exemption, the Section 299937I related to regional center service providers, there are 2 points that have to be considered. That exemption speaks specifically to individuals receiving payment from regional centers. But under SB 946, many people receiving insurance-provided behavioral health services, those providers are paid by the insurance companies, not the regional centers. Similarly, as behavioral health is transitioned over to Medi-Cal, those people will also be paid not by regional centers, but through Medi-Cal. So an exemption that speaks to providers receiving payment from regional centers ultimately is going to leave a very small proportion of providers who do behavioral health services. So that's really the concern where we have, is that ultimately most providers serving our community won't be under this exemption. Therefore, they will be subject to the licensure requirements. So while the premise of licensure is certainly very worthy, the bill as written risks creating a shortage in the long term, so concern of ours. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments?
Yes, Madam Chair and members, Amanda Levy with the California Psychological Association. We also have a concerned position still at this point. We have worked with the author and sponsors, and many of our issues have since been addressed, but we are still concerned about the makeup of the Board of Psychology. The bill will add one public member and one individual who has a certificate, and then we'll have a license in ABA services. We would ask that that person also be duly licensed as a psychologist, since the issues that will come before them will be both of a psychological nature and those specifically for ABA. So we think the wider depth of knowledge will be better for the consumers of which the board serves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members. Bill Barnaby, representing the California Speech Language Hearing Association, sometimes known as CASHA. I want to thank the author and the folks, the sponsors and the analysts here who worked on the very thorough bill analysis. We finally came to we had an opposed unless amended. We're withdrawing our opposition because of the amendment, and it's reflected on the next to last page of the analysis, amendment number 9. I'd like to request the committee to indulge for just briefly, brief comments Miss Amy Prince, who is representing the CASHA board. She is both a licensed speech pathologist and a board-certified behavior analyst. She knows the differences between the two disciplines, and there are important differences, and she will speak to that. So with your indulgence, Miss Amy Prince, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, as Mr. Barnaby said, I am representing the California Speech, Language, and Hearing Association, and we've removed our opposition and have a neutral stance on the bill. The amended language that we worked with the sponsors and the authors to create really identifies and protects the consumers to ensure that the assessments performed and the subsequent services are done by the most qualified professional. And so I'd like to thank you for everything that we were able to do, and I'm glad we're able to take a neutral stance. Thank you.
Madam Chair and members, Tim Shannon representing the California Association of Marriage and Family Therapists. We sent earlier a letter of concern to the author suggesting a number of amendments. She has taken one which we appreciate. There is an outstanding issue that we have. While the bill does appear to include an exemption for other licensed professionals, we have suggested language that would make it clear that other professionals do not need a license to do ABA and that they would be not precluded from being reimbursed for such. And we'll continue to work with her to hopefully get that amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. In opposition, in other public comment.
Yes, hello. My name is Fred Baldy. I'm from Behavioral Intervention Association. We are an ABA provider. We've been providing ABA in California since 1998. Mm-hmm. In essence, we support this bill.
Good.
I have been involved with ABA legislation from the days when it was an educational issue and sat on multiple committees there. And then it moved to the DDS because it turned into a social issue. And now we've moved it into the medical model, hence the licensing. I was much involved with SB 947. I'm sorry.
479.
946.
Oh, another one.
946 is the original.
Right,
Steinberg's. With Lou Vismara, worked on that to get that through. I sat for every one of the meetings of the task force.
Okay.
And listened to them carefully and provided feedback as a provider.
And on this bill in particular, do you have a comment to make? Or?
Yes, I do. I wanted to say that there's a situation that I believe with the framework. The framework of SB 946 was an inclusive situation. It included many other people, qualified persons. This particular legislation is being exclusive. It's excluding quite a few folks that SB 946 were including. So SB 946 was never meant to be an exclusatory type situation.
Okay. And then you'll need to just summarize your comments. Thank you.
Excuse me. Since I'm all new to this, what does that mean? Does that mean I have to write something? Or?
No, just wrap up your comments.
Oh, wrap up.
Yeah, we're going to move on to the...
Okay, great. Couple things. Qualified service autism providers, that was one category in SB 946. They had two types here. They had persons that were board certified. The other persons they had were licensed people. Now, on our staff, we have multiple licensed people, MFTs, et cetera, who have been providing ABA for over 20 years, long before the BCBA became a nationally certified certificate, which was, just to be clear, in 2007. We've been practicing ABA for 19 years before the certification, national certification. The other part was in qualified autism service professionals. They have excluded all the regional center vendors who fall under behavior management program.
Okay.
The behavior management program service code was provided to those providers who were providing ABA services from the mid-'80s on.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And Will, if you'd like to submit other written comments, we'd be happy to take those as well. So you are in opposition or you're in support?
I am. I'll just say a neutral thing. I'll be in a neutral thing because, again, SB 946 also spoke exclusively about grandfathering.
Okay.
And taking care of those individuals.
Thank you so much. I'm going to bring that back now to the committee for any questions or comments on this bill. I will say that I am sensitive to the regional center issue and was a little concerned to hear that maybe the exemptions weren't addressing their concerns completely, because we have a great regional center. We know it's hard to get folks to work. In regional centers, we know the compensation sometimes is not very, great. So could you address the concerns that were raised by the regional centers, that perhaps the way it's written, it's actually not going to provide as big an exemption as I actually thought there would be?
Yeah, as written, there is an exemption for anyone employed by the regional center as long as their work is within the regional center system.
Right,
hence the gentleman's comment about payments.
Right.
So those individuals that have transitioned from the regional center to a private health plan, all of the private health plans have 946 to follow. SB 946, which all of those individuals are either exempted or you're a board-certified behavior analyst and can provide those services. The other group of individuals will now be funded by Medi-Cal, and there's a state plan amendment out that follows the same exact guidelines as SB 946. So the way we see it, there should be no one that's not covered.
Okay.
And those individuals, a very small group, someone who's self-insured, will be covered through the regional centers, and this exemption would cover them.
Okay. Well, perhaps you could just meet again with the regional center representative and make sure that it's really clear, because people, when we put something in statute, we don't want to have to try to unwind it. If we can make it clear up front, let's do our best to do that.
Yes, we will continue those conversations with the folks from the regional center as well as with the psych board, because as you're aware, they're requesting that exemption be deleted, but we are sensitive to the concerns that the gentleman raised.
Yep. And I mean, I think that, we have a situation where there are a number of people who need the services, and I just, want to make sure to the board's issue that we're not, causing a situation where we're going to have a shortage of providers, and that's a big concern. So thank you for continuing to work out those details. Very good. All right. I think we have a motion and we have a second. Do pass as amended. So you're accepting the amendments to appropriations.
And we'll continue to work with some of the stakeholders on these other issues. It is very complex, and trying to address them all, it's been an evolution, if you will, to where we are now, but we have time before.
Well, and I want to thank you, too, because granting a new license category is rare. So you've really done an amazing job to get it this far, because usually they kind of fall under their own weight of the complexity of licensing. So that's great. Thank you.
Bonilla.
Aye.
Bonilla, aye. Jones.
Not voting.
Jones, not voting. Baker.
Aye.
Baker, aye. Bloom.
Aye.
Bloom, aye. Campos.
Aye.
Campos, aye. Chang.
Aye.
Chang, aye. Dodd.
Aye.
Dodd, aye. Eggman. Gatto. Holden. Mullen.
Aye.
Mullen, aye. Ting.
Aye.
Ting, aye. Wilk.
Yes.
Wilk, aye. Wood. Wood, aye. 10-0, measures out.
10-0, the measure is out. Thank you. I think we have Senator Pan. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is item number 4, SB 453. It's a due pass to appropriations recommendation, prisons regarding involuntary medication.
Move the bill.
Great. We have a motion and a second. Brief testimony.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I just want to thank the committee for all your help with the bill and to accept the author's amendments. I want to be very clear about that. That would address chaptering out conflicts. And basically, SB 453 allows a treating psychiatrist working with a patient who's incompetent to stand trial the ability to request another psychiatrist to place an involuntary medication order. And since the bill's been moved, I'll go ahead and let my witnesses make their statements then. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Doug Chiappetta with the Union of American Physicians and Dentists and AFSCME. We represent state physicians in Department of State hospitals. This bill is supported by the administration, has no opposition. It essentially would allow our treating psychiatrists to have another psychiatrist participate in an involuntary medication order, but still have input in the process. Thank you.
Thank you, and support.
Mark Victoria, AFSCME Local 2620, representing multiple different modalities within the Department of State hospitals, also in support.
Thank you. Others in support? Others in opposition? Seeing none, bring it back to the committee for questions. Seeing none, this is a do pass as amended to appropriations. Would you like to close?
I respectfully ask for an aye vote. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take the vote.
Bonilla.
Aye.
Bonilla, aye. Jones. Jones, aye. Baker. Baker, aye. Bloom. Bloom, aye. Campos. Campos, aye. Chang. Chang, aye. Dodd. Dodd, aye. Eggman. Eggman, aye. Gatto. Holden. Mullen. Mullen, aye. Ting. Wilk. Wilk, aye. Wood. Wood, aye.
11-0, the measure is out.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Do we have a senator? Where's Stone? Okay. He is? Where is he? Senator Stone? Thank you. And then Senator Leno. It's the last one. Forgot about Stone. All right. Thank you so much. This is item number 1, SB 149. It's a do pass as amended to appropriations, investigational drugs, biologic products or devices, and the right to try. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Honorable committee members. First off, I would like to take all 3 suggested amendments in the committee analysis as author amendments in addition to the 3 amendments agreed to in the Assembly Health that are being taken in this committee. SB 149, also known as the Right to Try Act, is a unique bill that would provide hope to terminally ill patients in the state of California. Patients who are terminally ill often have very few options available for them. For terminally ill patients who have exhausted all their conventional treatment options, obtaining access to potentially life-saving investigational drugs is often very difficult. For these patients, their only hope for obtaining these life-saving drugs is to request that the FDA grant them expanded access. Unfortunately, the process for expanded access is confusing and time-consuming. There's an estimated 100 hours worth of paperwork to fill out with the FDA, and then it may take the FDA up to a month to make a final decision, sometimes too late for the patient. We feel that there's a better way. Under SB 149, a terminally ill patient can request to try an experimental drug that has passed Phase 1 safety trials as a last chance effort to save their life. This could only happen under a specific set of rules. 1, the patient has a terminal illness and has exhausted all conventional treatment options. 2, the patient's doctor has advised the use of an investigational drug. 3, the investigational drug is successfully completed at basic safety testing. 4, the patient has provided informed consent. 5, the company sponsoring the development of the investigational drug is willing to make it available to the patient. The bill contains important protections for all parties so that the doctor and the hospital advising the drug and the pharmaceutical company providing the drug will not be subjected to a lawsuit. This bill has received no votes throughout the process. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you very much. In support.
Yes, Madam Chair, David Jones, on behalf of the City of Murrieta, we'd like to thank the author. We think this is a well-thought-out bill. We ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Others in support? Seeing none, opposition?
Hi, thank you. Amy Durbin with the California Medical Association. We're technically still in opposition to the bill, but appreciate all the amendments taken thus far and look forward to addressing our remaining issues here soon with our continuing conversations with the Senator. Thank you.
Others in opposition? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the committee. I'll just point out to the committee we have a number of amendments on page 7 and 8 of the analysis that really lines the bill up with the Calderon bill that was heard earlier. in this committee and in Health Committee. So thank you very much. We do have a motion and a second, and with that, we'll take the roll.
Bonilla.
Aye.
Bonilla, aye. Jones.
Aye.
Jones, aye. Baker. Baker, aye. Bloom. Aye. Bloom, aye. Campos. Aye. Campos, aye. Chang. Aye. Chang, aye. Dodd. Aye. Dodd, aye. Eggman. Aye. Eggman, aye. Gatto. Holden. Mullen. Aye. Mullen, aye. Ting. Wilk.
Aye.
Wilk, aye. Wood.
Aye.
Wood, aye.
11-0, the measure's
Thank
out.
you, Madam Chair,
very much.
honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you.